So hey y'all, my name is Jared Trujillo. I'm policy counsel at the New York Civil Liberties Union. I'm an assistant law professor at Hofstra, and before that I ran the Association of Legal Aid Attorneys, the union that represents legal aid, some of the people that have made your lives more difficult. And you know, when Jill asked me to speak today, someone I do consider a friend, I was curious as to why. You know, it's 95 degrees. It might be to punish me. But you know, for as much as we disagree, and as much as we agree, you know, there's a lot of really important work that we did as far as keeping ICE at the courts together. There's so much important, and something that I want to acknowledge about Eric, and I don't even know if I've said this to you before, is he was really one of the first that we talked to about decriminalizing sex work. And I am not someone who gets nervous talking to prosecutors at all, after being a public defender for so long. But I was really nervous in having that conversation, because it was talking about traumas that my clients went through. It was talking about the traumas that the people that I organized went through. It was talking about the trauma that I went through as a teenage sex worker, and that's also sex worker in law school. And just his ability to see the humanity of the people that were talking, for him to see and recognize and uplift and want to elevate so many of the Black and brown trans women that really put so much sweat equity and time and emotion into this campaign. It's something that I really look up to. It's why I consider you a friend, and it's why I'm here at risk of my legal aid colleagues potentially clogging me. And so I just want to say, for as much as we might disagree, something that I think that we can all agree on, and something that I think that where we can really find commonality, especially during Pride, is that so many of the queer and trans folks, that whether it's at Legal Aid, or at NYCLU, or the Kings County DA's office, that we ultimately want to elevate, that we ultimately want to see their humanity the same way that Eric saw my humanity, and saw the humanity of so many of the Black and brown sex workers that are brought in and out of the HTICs, is really recognizing the history. So much of the history of the LGBTQ movement is just completely indistinguishable from the criminal legal system. Indistinguishable in ways that are oftentimes erased. You know, the first Pride was 52 years ago, but 3 years after the first Pride, just 3 years, one of the organizers of that first Pride, one of the organizers of the Stonewall Rebellion, was shouted out and booed, which just wanted to talk about LGBTQ liberation. I'm talking about Sylvia Rivera. 3 years after that, Sylvia Rivera, a Puerto Rican trans woman, for simply wanting to have LGBTQ youth housed at the LGBT Center in the coldest months of the year, she was banned. The same exact center that now has a room with her name on it banned her for just asking that the humanity of those folks be seen. In 2002, on her deathbed, she just asked the LGBT movement to just recognize her, to not exclude trans folks from what was known at the time as the Sexual Orientation Non-Discrimination Act. It took 17 years from when we passed SONDA to pass GENDA. GENDA, which actually included trans folks, didn't pass until 2 years ago. Lawrence v. Texas. You know, we think about Edie Windsor, we think about so many other moneyed, mostly white folks in the LGBTQ movement who've lifted up, who's been celebrated, who've been grand marshals. Tyrone Garner, one of the defendants in Lawrence v. Texas, died so broke that that his ashes were carried in a black plastic bag until his attorney at Lambda Legal was actually able to raise the money. And so I say this not to bring the mood down, not to being a depressing public defender, but because I do think that it's important that we really recognize that in so much of the queer liberation movement, we've really erased Black and brown folks. And when I say we, I include the LGBT community in that more than almost anyone. We've not only erased them, but we've really deprioritized so many of the criminal legal system issues that we really need to address in order to truly elevate those communities. And not just criminal legal system, as y'all know, being unhoused is indelibly tied to the criminal legal system. The foster care system, the best way to determine if someone is going to end up in the adult penal system is if they were in the juvenile system. The best indicator of that is if they were in foster care. Employment, immigration, just so many of these systems are just so tied to each other that we really have to care about elevating the whole person. So I really appreciate so much of the work that Eric's done, that Jill has done, that I'm sure so many other people in the office have really taken part of. I look forward to see what we do in the future, and I look forward to just working with y'all and to, again, hopefully getting home safely, walking past the Glade, and not getting attacked by my former colleagues. Thank you.
Yeah.